All right, man. Welcome back to this episode of Talksmackwithmac MMA. Al, I have had you on the podcast before. I think you're an absolutely badass, dope guy. And it's a pleasure and honor to have you back on this podcast. I think it's been maybe 8 or 9 months, man. How have you been since then?
It's been really good. Thanks for having me on again. Likewise, pleasure and honor to be on. So
yeah. Have you been in the last 7 months, 8 months?
I've been good, between competition going really well. And then, life in general is going really good. Planning a wedding's fun. That night, actually the last interview I had that night when I won, I proposed to my girlfriend at the time. She's my fiance now. So I'm planning for a wedding for October or September of next year. We had to change it. Actually, we're going to do it this upcoming October, but the venue that we were working with screwed us. so we had to kind of fight to get our money back and all that fun stuff. And now we're doing it at a much nicer place, and we're excited about it. So it'll be fun. Yeah,
it's definitely going to work out then. Get that nicer place.
Yep. And then I start a new job soon. It's in the same field. I'll be working with, at-risk youth and stuff. That's something I've been doing for the last 4 years. But this one's not within the same organization, which sucks because I like who I work for. But it's, a bump in pay and stuff. So I'm finally starting to move up in the world a little bit. So I guess it's what everyone tells you to wait for,
Yeah.
So... But besides that, everything else has been going really well.
That is badass. I'm right there with you. I just finally graduated from school.
Man, congrats.
Last month. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I'm finally gonna get out and get a damn job, and start bringing some cash in and stuff like that. So I feel you. We're moving on up. Well, you got a big day coming up, man. Mike Tyson fight night, Saturday, July 23rd. I know you're a boxing guy, man. How amazing do you feel that you're going to be performing when in front of one of arguably the greatest boxers of all time in Mike Tyson?
Sure. For me, it's double special for me because, not only am Mike Tyson's my biggest living idol, I'd say he's right behind probably Rocky Marciano and maybe Muhammad Ali, but they've unfortunately passed. So as far as Mike Tyson goes, he's my biggest living idol right now, him and Bas Rutten. And I've met Bas Rutten, so it's cool. I get to meet Mike Tyson. I hope to talk to him a bit. It's also important because it's at the Empire Plaza in Albany, New York. And when I was 12 years old, I had been boxing maybe for a month or two. And then my dad said, you know what, if you're going to get into it, why don't we go watch it? My dad worked in Albany, and he knew a lot of guys that actually worked for New York State Athletic Commission, for the boxing commission. And so he got us some tickets and we got to go, and I got to watch my first boxing card. There were a few amateur bouts, and then there were a few pro bouts at the end, and they were just up and coming guys. I think the main event was 8-0 versus 12-1 or something like that. And I think the winner was going to get a contract to go fight for ESPN or something like that. And it was really cool. And then a few months after that, my mom bought me tickets to go to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Can we pause this real quick by any chance?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay,
yeah, cool.
Sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
Bam, as you were.
Yeah. So that a few months after that, my mom bought us tickets to go to the Boxing Hall of Fame because I live right in Utica, New York, which is about 45 minutes from Canastota, where the Hall of Fame is. So we got to go that year, and that was a really big year. Julio Cesar Chavez was inducted. Actually, some people hated it, but Sylvester Stallone was inducted. And then, of course, Mike Tyson was the main attraction to the whole thing. And so I actually my boxing coach was around Customato a lot in the 60s and 70s. And that was Mike Tyson's trainer, for those of you that don't know. But my coach actually was a sparring partner for Floyd Patterson, who was heavyweight champion, and then Jose Torres. So this was way before Tyson was, in the picture yet. Jose Torres and Floyd Patterson, they were champ. Tyson wasn't even born yet. So my coach had known Cuss and those guys for a while. And turns out going up, he knew Mike pretty well. So it was really cool because I met Mike once briefly. We were sitting at a table, ironically, it was with Teddy Atlas. who trained Mike Tyson for a while when he was younger. My coach and Teddy were very good friends, and they still are. They still talk all the time. There's actually a couple of pictures of them at the Hall of Fame this last weekend. And then Mike comes in, and I got to talk to him for like 2 minutes. I just asked him every question I could in like 2 minutes. Then he said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'd love to talk to you, but I got to go," because he had all these, obligations to do. But he wanted to come over, and it was funny because he walked over to my coach and said, "Hey, Coach Wilson, how are you?" He knew who he was. So it was really cool. Even after all those years, the last time he saw him was maybe 1980 something, before Cuss died, because my coach used to go up just to kind of hang out with Cuss. Him and Cuss were really close as far as friendship goes. So it's a really big deal for me because it's like full circle. I'm going to the first place I ever saw an event. 12 years later, it's the same guy I got to watch inducted into the Hall of Fame a little bit after the Hall of Fame weekend too. So it's really cool for me. For me, it's a full circle moment. And no matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, I could get knocked dead. I don't care. I'll be able to say, I did this. Not anyone from my area ever did that before. Mm-hmm. So that's something I hold, I have pride for that, knowing that for sure.
Yeah, that's badass, man. To see your life come full circle and have this moment where you're defending the belt. And you're going
heavyweight title.
Yeah, you're going against Corey Quintana, right? Didn't he just fight super heavyweight? Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing is I don't know if they got that right or wrong yet. I think they're trying to figure it out. I don't know if he's coming down to me or if I'm supposed to go up to him to take his belt. So that's like where we're at now, because I know he was only 300 pounds when he fought last. That's still a 40-pound cut for him. That's enough to, and definitely, he has the room to do it. But I also want to fight him at his best. I don't want him to cut 40 pounds. For me, I walk around at like 255, 260. I can weigh in with a vest on and I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Or just like my shoes and my clothes, and I'll weigh in at 266 probably, if I just wear jeans and a hoodie or something. So
that's a big weight discrepancy between the two of you guys, though. If you were to move up and go against him and going against Malik is he's a big dude and a good athlete, especially for that size. And Corey was able to keep him on the ground for the majority of the fight and have his way with him. How do you feel like, I know standing and slanging and banging, I know you're going to have a big advantage because you're a prominent boxer, been doing boxing for a long time. Mm-hmm. Do you think that 40 pounds, he's going to be able to just, I guess, sit on top of you and keep you on the ground?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Corey, he's a good wrestler. I think he's gone to the state tournament, when he was in high school. I remember watching him wrestle. And I believe he was D2 for Section 2. I was Section 3. Now, granted, I think I might have been a freshman when he was a senior. Mm-hmm. So it might have been one of those deals. But I remember him wrestling one of my college teammates, Jake Grossbeck and James Bethel, and I think they beat him. But all I ever heard about him, whenever someone messaged me, said he's very strong, which I believe it. We're at heavyweight. A lot of us are strong. I wrestled guys, when I was in college, there was always a weight discrepancy. It was actually a lot. I was a bit of a smaller frame. I was like 215, 220. And I wrestled guys that had to cut to get to 285. Like they were big. I would never forget, there was this guy from the Merchant Marine Academy who was 6'10" and had to cut 30 pounds, like virtually throughout the entire season to get to 285. And that was the first and only time in my life where I shook his hand. I'm like, I'm not winning. That's the first thing I thought, because I wasn't that good of a wrestler to begin with. But ever since my last year of college wrestling into now, now that I'm with my MMA team again, Mohawk Valley Mixed Martial Arts, I know what my weaknesses are. And I know the big thing that everyone tries to do is shoot and take me down and stuff like that, especially if you watch my 2 fights with Corey Norman. He kept me against the fence, and that's basically where I lost. But, really ever since that last loss to Norman, it kind of triggered something in my head to where it's like, okay, I'm training harder. I'm taking it seriously, but I'm not taking it as serious as I could. That, and everyone thought I was too nice to Corey because him and I are my best friends. But now I watch that fight, and every time I hit him, I want to cry. So, I mean, there's definitely that. But, he beat me fair and square twice. But
both by decision, right?
Yeah. First one was split. Then the other one was unanimous. I think he'll be strong. I think the weight discrepancy is more of if he was a lot bigger than me, but I think I'm the same height as him, if not like an inch shorter. And I think I'm actually wider than he is. A lot of people might see me on camera or something, but I got broad shoulders and my doctor said I'm one of the few situations where I'm actually big boned. Said your rib cage is large, your bones and your legs are large, your hands are large. You're just a bigger guy. Yeah. You might not be as tall, but you're very wide compared to a lot of these people.
How tall are you?
6 foot, 6 foot, maybe 6.5, not too tall, but I've always faced guys taller than me. My last fight, Luke Visengard I think he was 6'5". Matt Boyce 6'2", and Corey 6'3". Carlos Pereira was like 6'3" too, stuff like that. And so everyone I fought has been taller. It's just how I use my style. And with Corey, I just think his wrestling is going to be a big obstacle, but I think, and it's no knock on Malik, I really like that guy because we've warmed up in the same locker room a couple of times now. But I think I got a better idea of what wrestling is compared to Malik. And I think I know how to use it. I think Malik, because he's a big dude, he's tall and he's large, but I just feel like if he got in a little bit better shape than what he is now, I think he'd really unlock his potential. And I think he'd be a much more dangerous opponent. But for me, the way it looks like with Malik, he just kind of trains a little bit here or there, shows up and fights. I don't do that. So I could be wrong. Malik might message me like, "What's your problem, man?" And like I said, there's no hate, but I love that guy. He's cool. But I just feel like with Corey now, I'm definitely a much different opponent compared to Malik and the few guys he's fought a few years ago. So,
yeah, you've been doing this fighting stuff for a long time. I think it been 5 years since you had your first amateur fight?
4 or 5 years has got to be now, which is weird to think. But, boxing, I started my first amateur match with 13. I've had about 50, 60 of those. And then wrestling, you've had well over 100-something matches at this point, and then with MMA, this will be my, I think, 12th or 13th, and so it's good. I like to have the experience. I haven't discussed pro entirely with my coach yet. I want to see if I'm ready for it. But if the fights go the same way that they have, I always told myself, if I win like 3 fights just dominantly, my last 2 fights, I had 2 10-8 rounds and stuff like that in both of them. And I was doing well against tough opponents, whether people think they were or not, I don't care. But they were tough opponents. They were all ranked within the top 10 of the Northeast, or they all held a title at one point, whether it be for Cage Wars or Gladius, which are big promotions around us. Obviously, Cage Wars is the biggest, but that's, I think experience I'll have over Corey, but I don't think he's going to be a fish out of water in this fight. I think he's going to be a very tough guy. And I think he's one of those guys, he's a wrestler, who's going to rise to the occasion every single time. He might come up short, but he's going to give it every single thing he's got. He's got a wrestler's mind. He's not just going to quit on himself. So I'm definitely expecting to half kill a man if I have to, it's basically where we're going.
Yeah, I can imagine. You guys are 2 big boys that's going to get in there and try to take each other's heads off. So it's going to be one very entertaining fucking fight to watch. Yes. I can't wait for it. What issues do you have finding guys your size to give you quality work in the gym? Is it hard or is it easier for you?
So at one point, heavyweights in the Mohawk Valley was super easy to come across. Nowadays, it has been a little bit challenging, but every single one of my teammates that I have, I think my teammate Eric Mendiola is fighting on that card. He's actually fighting Corey Norman. And, he's walking around at a good size now. He hasn't fought in a few years. He's not fat. Oh, God, no, he's not fat. But, he's bigger now and far weight. But I think one thing about our gym that sets it apart is really the only place I see a big difference is with the wrestling, maybe because I can really overbear my weight. Mm-hmm. But I think what that does is it kind of makes me be more technical. I don't use like brute strength moves like I would when I wrestled in, college or in jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. I use basically my strength. But now it's because these guys actually have good double legs, good single legs, good entries, good finishes. So I basically make myself like 50, 60% lighter, and I put myself at their weight class basically. And it's hard, it really is. Our team is very, we're stacked. we got 20 plus guys in that room every single night that every single one of them knows what they're doing and how to do it. Yeah. So it's difficult, I guess, with people directly my size, but it's also nice because I get some of my college teammates every now and again. I'll either go down to my college, which was only an hour away. I'll wrestle with them, or they'll come up to the MMA gym and they'll do MMA classes with me. My captain in college, James Bethel, has come up a couple times, and he's, every time he comes up, it's such a tremendous help. Because you realize with that guy, especially when, you're a 4-time All-American and a national champion, that, it's takes a lot of people to roll you into a ball and bully you down a lane like he can, so it's a confidence booster, I guess. For sure. If I can
just surviving,
Just surviving with that guy, the brown bear. Yeah. Yeah. He said, I'm going to go try MMA soon. I'm like, let me have this, please. Can I have one thing?
Yeah. Keep your crazy ass over there. Let me have this. Yeah. So you're on the same team as Jalil and Kyle, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, that's so when your team, like you said, you have a stacked team, when your teammates are doing good. Matter of fact, I don't know if you just said it or not. I think you cut
Eric Mendiola.
You cornered for your team a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I love that Duff can trust me enough to do that. I coached a lot of amateur boxing. MMA was still kind of new. I think before I joined the team back, I coached maybe 1 or 2 guys. Mm-hmm. One guy won 2 times, one guy lost once and stuff like that. So it was kind of here or there. I wasn't like full-time training with these guys either. It was just, you go to a show and then people all the time, I would go to this show out in Watertown, and out of nowhere, someone would be like, hey, can you corner me? Sure. Or, hey, can you wrap my hands? I want to wrap half the locker room's hands.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So
were you in the corner when Jalil fought?
Broke the guy's arm.
Oh my God, dude. That was fucking intense.
Yeah. So we were sitting there, Duff and I, and we were telling Ja, because Ja in his first fight hurt the guy and got way too trigger happy, got taken down and choked out for it. And he learned from that. Well, the second fight, he hurt the guy again. And he started to get trigger happy. And
then he brought it back.
Yeah, all I started screaming was, stay smart. And then Duff looks over at me. He's like, oh, shit, he's right. Stay smart, And so we were really worried about that. And then the guy was a good wrestler. You can tell by his stance, and took him down. Josh stuffed the first 1 or 2. Then the other one, I screamed, keep the double wrist lock or the Kimura. And Duff said, keep it, lock it. He said, we just kept saying, keep it. We didn't say break it. People were accusing us of yelling, break it and stuff. Mm-hmm. That was the opponent's corner yelling that. The opponent's corner was screaming, we don't tap. We don't tap. It's just, and Duff is actually yelling across the cage, tell him to tap, or telling Dan, the referee, just stop it because he's going to break it. And Ja is a type of athlete, when he gets in the mode, it's very hard to get him out of the mode. Mm-hmm. And we just saw Ja, and I'm just sitting there he's going to break it. And then you could just hear clack.
Oh, man.
And Duff and I just put our heads down. We put our cap over our eyes. We're like, oh, shit. Ja's yelling. We're like, don't celebrate. Don't celebrate that. Make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just wait, did I break it? Yeah, Ja, you broke it.
How fucking stupid is that to say we don't tap? It's
an amateur fight.
Fucking stupid to me.
It's an amateur fight too. You know how much we all make doing this stuff?
Next to nothing.
Some amateur guys have sponsors, which kind of takes the amateurism part away from it. But we saw him get carted into the ambulance and everything. And I guess he messaged Ja after the fact, saying, oh man, I kind of wish I tapped or something like that. So I wish you did too.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy has a lot of talent, and it just sucks that, maybe that was a one or done thing. And that's you know what? I sit on my ass for work every day. I don't need to use it. So break it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess. But
let's hope not, because that dude is a solid guy, and he's a tough son of a bitch. He got his arm broken. He just was like, hey, It's broke.
I don't want to think how painful that was. I don't.
I can only imagine. Hey, the last thing I want to bring up before we sum up this podcast is you have a YouTube channel. I see you're sitting in a room where you have a lot of your equipment. I think it's absolutely badass.
I was doing something before. That's why it took me so long to respond to you. Sorry.
The Combat Corporation. How long have you been doing that for? And do you do everything yourself?
I do everything myself
and whatnot.
Yep, I do everything myself. Basically, I started, I was a senior in college, so about 3.5 years ago, March of 2019, I think, is when I started. And it was all just because I was bored in college. I really wasn't having a good time in college. The wrestling season had just ended for me. There was a bunch of stuff in my life going on, and my therapist basically said, why don't you do something that makes you happy every day? And I was like the weirdo. I'm like, I got boxing gloves, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, I'll do reviews on those. So, that opened a lot of doors for me. I wound up doing an internship with Hayabusa because the very first video I ever did was a review on the Captain America gloves, which you can actually see in the corner, like right there.
I do.
There
top
we go.
Right.
So, but and I did that, and I got to do a summer internship with Hayabusa and learn more about the trade and stuff. And they're such a professional company. I wish I could have. Basically visa issues wouldn't let me go over the border to work there, because I guess you actually need a visa or a work visa to actually even do an internship in Canada, which is crazy, which sucks, because I was ready to drop everything and move there and live there forever, because that's my dream job.
I bet.
But yeah, everything I do myself, it's actually pretty simple. I have a backdrop I use my logo and stuff on it, but one of the knobs broke to it. And I don't know where I put the bases to it, to be honest. So I got to look for those. They're in here somewhere. But I just figured, a lot of people said they want to see the gloves in the back. So basically what I do is I have a ring light, and then what's called a harsh light. Just like a box LED light that you put on the top and the side of your camera, and then just a cheap, $20 mic, which operates this as well if you understand audio technology like I do. And all I do, I sit in front, I talk about it. I don't like doing separate takes or cuts or anything like that. I always try and get it in one take. I don't know why that is. Certain videos like lists or different things, technical breakdowns, I can do different cuts and breaks. But and then as far as like what I do to edit it, I just I recently got a new graphics card because mine was like 10 years old and was just dying slowly, a slow, painful death. And that thing did everything for me until about 3 months ago. I finally had to get a new one. And so now I use the program's called DaVinci Resolve. It's a super easy, user-friendly way. And there's a lot of advanced stuff, which I still haven't delved entirely into because some of it I don't understand, but it has a lot of cool presets as far as like, video transitions and audio transitions go, stuff that a monkey could just drag and drop basically. So I'm able to do it. But yeah, it's great. I'm at like 4,600 subscribers now. I think we hit 4,000 about a month ago. So it's definitely growing at a rapid rate.
Fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and a lot of people in the community said that once you get over like 2 or 3, that's when people start to subscribe a lot because it starts to get in people's feed a lot faster. The key to it is consistency. And over the last 2 months, I took a little bit of a break because it was like, I just wasn't feeling sitting in front of a camera. Work. My last job was kind of sucking my life from me. So I didn't really feel like coming home after, my day would be, go to work from, 7 till like 5, then coach from 5:30 till 9, or not coach, but 5:30 till 7, and then train from 7 till 9, come home, shower. I'll sit in front of a camera for an hour and a half and edit it. No, I just wasn't in the mood for it. But now that I basically took my vacation time over the last 2 weeks, for my last job, and basically I'll work one day and then I'll leave that, and then I'll go into my new job, which is kind of a dick move on my end, but but screw it. But yeah, so I've been released 2 videos this week, and then I got the next one I'm recording now, and then next 3 I actually sat down and did 3 earlier. So that's just, if you like something, get in front of the camera and talk about it.
Exactly. The consistency thing is the pain in the ass. Like with these Zoom videos, these are super easy. But my other podcast, which is in person. I have people come to the studio and everything, and that's when it starts to take 4, 5, 6 hours and shit like that. Oh, to the other Talksmack. Oh shit, yeah, of course. but those episodes take, man, sometimes 5, 6, 7 hours. And you make the thumbnails and everything like that. So it really shows dedication when people do it for 3.5, 4 years, like you're coming up on. So congratulations to that. Congratulations to 4.6. Yeah. And I hope it keeps on kicking ass for you, man.
I tell people all the time, I do it like, YouTube pays me a little bit, you're not really supposed to share how much, but it's enough, puts gas in my tank, or, I can buy, I usually just reinvest it into the channel. So if I get paid a certain amount, I'll just buy a new pair of gloves with it, or something like that, or, something someone's been requesting, and maybe I'll save it up for a month or two, because some boxing gloves are stupid expensive. And a lot of the subscribers are like, you got a bunch of gloves back there, you don't have those? No, I don't, because I don't got $500 to just drop. I'm sorry, I just don't. I wish I did. I'd buy them all, but so, maybe one day if the channel ever gets big enough to where I actually make a decent amount every month, maybe I could, I'd love to do it, full time. My dream is actually to have like a shop, like an online shop or something, call it like the Combat Corporation shop, or maybe separate it, call it Fighter Tested. Because that's the thing compared, not to eat up more time, but basically the thing with the other guys that review it, I think they get it out of the box. They train with it for maybe a couple of days to a week, and then they review it. I'm putting these things through the test of a fight camp, through hard sparring, through hard bag work every day. Most of the equipment that I have behind me, I've used for a very long time, unless they're newer. I don't review anything if I don't have upwards of a month or two on each and every piece of equipment. I just refuse. People have sent me stuff. They're like, hey, can you do a review like now? It's like, no, I can't. Because for all I know, they could be great now, and then 2 months from now, they could fall apart.
Exactly.
So that's my credibility. And I don't want anyone to watch my stuff and be like, hey, I got these gloves, but it's been 3 months, and, the lining ripped and the padding's just out, and, what the fuck, like basically. And it's like, well, what can you do? So I tell every single person that sends me something, it's like, I might lampoon your product right on YouTube, and I'm not going to delete it. And this is exactly what I tell people. If you don't like the review, I'll just buy the gloves from you fair and square, so I can say whatever I want about them. So it's basically what I'll do. I don't care. I'll spend the money. If you want me to take it off, I'll take it off, and then I'll just repost it when I bought them from you. So brands beware. So,
but being authentic like that is going to help you in the long run. So having a bigger picture mindset is everything. If people could really say, hey, I'm going to go to the Combat Corporation and find my boxing gloves, the ones that are perfect for me. And I know they're going to be that way because Al said they are, and put them through the wire. Yeah, man, that's badass. Well, Al, it's been 28 minutes. So just a little hair over the usual, but, yeah, man. Mike Tyson Fight Night. I know your short life so far is coming full circle in your boxing life, and you're going to get to perform in front of one of the greatest ever. So I hope you kick some ass. Good luck. And I would absolutely love to have you back on the show again.
Anytime, man. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
You too.